I'm Polly Tommey and I'm here with David Kirby, who's an investigative journalist and also author of Evidence of Harm. David's been here for 3 days, haven't you, David?
Yes.
How's it been? Tell us about the press coverage you've had here in the UK.
Well, I have to admit it's been a little disappointing. There were some press interviews and some commissioned newspaper articles set up in advance. They all fell through. So basically there was virtually no press coverage of my trip. There were 2 articles that appeared before I arrived, one in the Telegraph and one in the Sunday Sun, which was terrific. But I came with a message, and I'm glad that the people who heard my message got to hear it, and sometimes word of mouth can be very effective. One of the people who heard my message was Lord Hodgson, and I think he's going to pursue this matter more in Parliament. And we do have video of everything, and we'll make sure that members of the media and key members of the British government get copies of my appearances and my presentations, or at least excerpts of them, so they can see that this debate in the United States is still very much in play and has not been shut down the way it has here.
Looking a bit deeper into that, why do you think your interviews did fall through?
Well, I've come to learn that there is a certain mechanism in this country by which the government can actually put out word to the media of communication, informing them that certain stories and certain people should not be covered. I have no idea if that's what happened with me or not. My sense is that the British media have collectively decided that this story is over, that they're going to side with the government and industry on this debate, and that, frankly, I think maybe they're bored with it. Media have very short attention spans, and this is not a story that can be told or resolved in a 3-minute news piece. So I think all of those things, government and industry influence, undue influence I would say, a lack of genuine interest in the subject matter, and the belief that this has been settled, that this debate is over and it's just not worth talking about anymore.
Because I want to talk about the Hannah Poling case, because in Parliament you said that Hannah Poling had changed everything, so I want to talk about that. But it wasn't covered over here at all. We had to go on the net to get any information on that.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, I think it's still part of the same problem here in the UK. Your media is derelict in their duties. It's not up to them to decide whether this debate is over or not. They need to go and do the groundwork and the legwork and talk to people and see for themselves, rather than just taking it off of a press release from your government that this debate is over and then saying, okay, it's over. And by the way, that's a completely unacceptable and frankly unsatisfactory response for your media to just say, well, we looked into it, it wasn't vaccine, so we're done with this story. If they don't think it's vaccine, shouldn't they be trying to investigate what it might be? Where is the urgency? Where is the compassion for these families and their children? Where is the sense of national purpose? Where is the sense of community and common good? Why is the British media so willing to just ignore this story when you have tens of thousands of sick children in this country who desperately need not just the attention of the media, but everyone in this country to pay attention and to listen to the parents and frankly question authority a little bit. That's what we're taught in the United States. You don't take the government's word for it. You go out and you research it yourself. Our government said that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. We've now lost 4,000 American soldiers. I don't know how many British soldiers, how many millions of Iraqis have died on that false premise. And the New York Times took that press release from the Department of Defense and ran with it. And Congress voted to go to war based on false information. I think that's a really apt analogy. If the media had done their jobs instead of being the lapdog of government and industry, we may not be in Iraq right now, but we are. And that was a complete failure of the media to do their work.
Do you think the media are being threatened? Do you think that's why they're not there?
Well, I really can't, I don't know the British system well enough to really comment intelligently on whether they're being threatened. I know that in my country, now, I've been at this for about 5 years now, and when I first started it was very, very difficult to get any media coverage or not. That has evolved, but early on, I know that reporters were told, if you continue to cover this story, you'll lose your job. I know that in my country, advertising plays a very big role in television. We have lots of commercials. Many of them are drug company commercials. We advertise prescription drugs on TV in the United States. That is billions of dollars in revenue for the networks, and they're a business, first and foremost, even though they shouldn't be. The media should, if you're in the news business, your business should be news, not advertising. But we have such a corporate structure now, especially in the United States. Every media company is owned by a larger company, which has other financial interests. And that is combined with pressure, influence from our government as well, because they don't want the vaccine program questioned. They're very worried that vaccination rates will go down if this discussion continues. So I think it's a combination of things. I have no idea if threats have been issued, but I get the sense that there is quite a bit of auto-censorship, self-censorship here in this country, and more than in my country.
I recently spoke to a very high-powered journalist who doesn't work on the health side, who has a son that he believes is damaged by the MMR vaccination, who said, it is more than my job's worth. It is more than, without my job, I can't survive. I will lose my job if I speak out about this. You have to do it for me.
Well, I think that probably does go on, but it's not happening in my country anymore.
So you see a big difference between what's happening in your country and what's happening over here. Do you see what's happening over here anywhere else in the rest of the world?
Well, I'm sure it probably is. I don't know because I haven't really researched that very much. I understand this story does not get much play in France, for example. The French are way behind the British or the Americans when it comes to autism.
But the press, I'm talking about the media, the press.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't know.
But you see that it's certainly a lot worse over here than in the States.
It's much worse over here. It's appalling, to be honest. We complain about our country and our press and our government, and without, I don't come over here to, I am not one to brag about the United States. We are chock full of problems. But in the 3 days I've been here, I do get the sense that the United States is a more open society, that there is less censorship, that the media is willing to explore controversial topics. And this topic, though highly controversial, is getting mainstream media play. I have been on NBC, ABC, CBS, I've been in the New York Times, I was just on CNN with Larry King Live. Those are mainstream, major outlets. This morning, before coming over here, I just happened to I was online and I pulled up Google News and I typed in the word vaccine and autism, and I got 1,800 articles in the last 2 weeks on Google News. 2 of them were from the UK. Those were the 2 stories about me coming over here that were published. So out of 1,800 articles, only 2 were published in the UK, the rest were all in the United States, mostly around this rally that they just had in Washington this week. And every family from every state in the country preparing to go to Washington was interviewed by their local newspaper.
We had nothing on that over here.
Not a word.
Not a word.
Not a word. There were a couple thousand people, along with Jenny McCarthy and Jim Carrey, her boyfriend, one of the most famous movie stars in Hollywood. They were on network television. Again, I've been looking online. That story continues to get covered. And the coverage is genuinely or generally positive. And the coverage leaves open the question that yes, some scientists say that this has been disproven, but there is other evidence to suggest they may be wrong, or that at least some children were damaged by their vaccines.